Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Senate President Warren Peterson. Alongside me, we have Republican lawmakers from both the House and the Senate. In just a few minutes, you'll hear from Senator Bullock, Representative Bliss, House Majority Leader Leo Biasucci, Senator David Farnsworth, and Child Protection Advocate Kaylee Kozak, who's also the namesake for Kaylee's Law. We're here today because we are seeing a rise in horrific crimes of one of our most vulnerable populations, our children. The Biden administration's failure to enforce the law and close our southern border, along with the governor's unwillingness to sign our bills to protect Arizonans, have led to a dramatic rise in child sex trafficking cases within our state. And I'm going to repeat this next statistic twice because it'll blow your mind. Just last month, Scottsdale police announced 158 people were arrested during a 12-day operation for child sex trafficking, prostitution, luring a minor for sexual exploitation, and other horrific charges. 2 weeks ago, the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office arrested 2 men for child sex trafficking of a 16-year-old girl and a 10-year-old boy. I want to repeat on the Scottsdale police, they arrested 158 people over child sex trafficking. Think about this. This doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of the monsters that are roaming our communities right now, and they're stealing the innocence from our children. I'm proud to lead a legislative body that is now first in the nation to give voters the opportunity to impose a punishment of a life sentence, life in prison for child sex trafficking in our state. I want to thank Senator Bullock and Representative Bliss for their tireless work on all of this to help us pass out this legislation that makes it clear that children are not for sale. When voters overwhelmingly pass this in November, and I'm confident they will, we want to send the message not just to Arizona, but to the world, that if you buy or sell children, you are going to prison forever. Unfortunately, not one single member of the Democrat caucus voted for this bill in the House. And not one single member of the Democrat leadership voted for this bill. But the Republican leadership and the Republicans in both chambers were not deterred by this. And we're not going to dare take a chance of what the governor would do with it. And that's why we're sending it to the voters. We have a chance to be one of the toughest states in the nation for punishing these disgusting child sex traffickers. And as a father myself, quite frankly, I think this goes too easy on them. But this is the minimum that they should be looking at. Life in prison forever. It should be our top priority to make sure that our children are protected and never hurt, that their innocence isn't destroyed and their lives ruined permanently. So let's finish the job, Arizona, in November. Let's pass this. Let's let Arizona and the world know that our children are not for sale. Senator Bullock.
Thank you, Senator Peterson, members, media. My name is Shauna Bullock. I'm a state senator in District 2, which is North Phoenix. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and today we are all protecting our children as protectors. Come November, Arizona voters will hold these disgusting humans of child sex trafficking accountable for their behavior and their addiction. This ballot referral sends a clear message. We want safer communities to protect our kids from the heinous activity of child sex trafficking. Every 2 minutes, a child from the United States is trafficked for the sole purpose of human exploitation, according to the U.S. Department of Justice. And according to our Arizona Attorney General's office, the average age of entry into sex trafficking in Arizona is 14 years old. 14 years old. So that's like 9th grade. Sadly, I have met trafficking victims and survivors. As the Children Are Not for Sale campaign gears up, I look forward to working with a diverse array of groups and influencers from all over our state to educate our voters while sending a clear message that we mean business here in Arizona. Our children are not for sale today, or tomorrow, or ever. If you commit the crime, you will be going to prison for natural life. I want our kids, parents, teachers, grandparents, and law enforcement alike to know we mean business here in Arizona. After all, our kids are our most precious resource. It is past time to save our kids. Please join me in this fight to save our most precious resource. Our neighbor's daughter or our son needs protection today, tomorrow, and in the future. Together, we can send a powerful message that all of this needs to end. It's time to cut off the demand of exploiting our minor children. Remember, one Arizona victim is way too many child being victimized. Thank you so much.
Today, it's with great honor that I stand next to my Senate colleagues and House members and Senator Shauna Bullock, who I've had the privilege to work with on HCR 2042 and SCR 1021 to proclaim that Arizona's children are not for sale. Yesterday on the House floor, we passed SCR 1021 that adds a new provision to the Arizona Revised Statute that a person who's convicted of a Class 2 felony child sex trafficking offense under existing statute ARS 13-3212 has the option to be sentenced to natural life in prison without release. It is with this bold action that we take the first step to position Arizona to proclaim the strongest protection for our most vulnerable and our most precious Arizona children. And while we file this Senate concurrent resolution, we send to the voters the mandate of life in prison for those who commit the depravity of child sex trafficking and those who pay to abuse a child. Simply put, under this resolution, if a person sells a child or buys a child for sex, they're going to prison forever. Think about this startling statistic. We're going to repeat this over and over. Age 14. That's the average age in Arizona that these abused children are forced into these acts, these horrific sex acts, and that's boys and girls. By sending SCR 1021 to the ballot for voters to decide, we are saying to the rest of the country, no longer, not in our state, not once, not ever, is it okay to buy or sell a child for sex. Let it be known in Arizona, our children are not for sale.
Thank you, everybody. I first want to say thank you to Representative Bliss, Senator Bullock, President Peterson, and Speaker Toma for really taking the lead on this and making sure that this was something that we saw through and made happen this year. You know, since 2021, the Republican majority has done the job regarding child sex crimes, child sex trafficking, human smuggling. It's been the Republican leadership that have put bills forward and have passed into law to finally put an end to this heinous crime. When you look at the statistics, people say, you know, what is the point of life in prison? Shouldn't we have rehabilitation for these individuals? And I'll tell you right now, in 2021, when we started doing stricter sentencing and life in prison for these crimes, I actually called the AG's office to ask about this situation. And they told me directly, they said, look, when you're dealing with child sex crimes, sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, this is not a one-time thing. These individuals are repeat offenders because this is a sickness. And so the only solution to this sickness is life in prison, without parole, without early release. You need these individuals off the streets. You need to send the message to the public that we're not going to play here in Arizona with these crimes, and we're going to put you away for life. This message I want to send to every single child in Arizona, every single child across the country. We here, your Republican majority, we're here to protect you. We're going to put these people away for life. You do not deserve any of this, of what they do to you. And we're going to do whatever we can to make sure that you're protected and this never happens again to any child in Arizona or across the country. I am proud to stand here with my colleagues behind me because we want to also send the message to anybody trying to get involved in these crimes. We're coming for you, and we're throwing away the key. Thank you, God bless you, and I appreciate everybody being here.
Yes.
My name's David Farnsworth. I'm grateful for those who have brought this bill. It is truly necessary. Sexual predators have become like a malignant cancer in the world, in the United States, and unfortunately in Arizona. For 7 years, I've been trying to raise the alarm about missing children in Arizona. It's a concern that remains, and this bill will help us make that progress. There are no perfect bills, and as President Peterson mentioned, I would say the only way we could improve this bill is instead of life in prison, it would be execution, because there is no solution to this illness of sexual predators. I'm grateful for this bill and will do everything I can to continue raising the alarm about this malignant cancer that we have been affected with. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Kaylee Kozak, and I'm the co-chair for Children Are Not for Sale. On behalf of those victimized and those fighting for victims, and most importantly, those working diligently that we may never have another victim, I say to Arizona's Republican leaders and legislation, especially President Peterson, Majority Leader Biasucci, Senate sponsor Shauna Bullock, House sponsor Selena Bliss, and the few Democrats who are willing to buck their caucus and their major donors, thank you for supporting this bill. The Children Are Not for Sale ballot measure imposes life in prison for those who are selling and buying children in Arizona. Its passage in November will send a clear message to pedophiles everywhere, not in Arizona. It will send a message to prosecutors across the state: punish these perpetrators. It will allow us to join together and say, not one, not here, not now, and not ever. Please join us in this fight by going to childrenarnotforsale.com to see what you can do to get involved and make a difference. Our voices and our votes will be heard in November, and it will be known that Arizona's children are not for sale. Thank you.
Just tap me if anyone wants to make comment. Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions. I do just want to say I just got notified that the U.S. Supreme Court has upheld Texas's law, a law that Governor Hobbs vetoed. That was part of her excuse for vetoing our immigration, our border, 1231. And the Supreme Court, this is directly tied to sex trafficking, the fentanyl, and the crime. The U.S. Supreme Court has upheld that. And we're going to have another bill sent to the governor, and her veto letter saying that it's unconstitutional is absolutely not true. It is constitutional, and it's coming her way. We'd be happy to answer questions on this issue. So breaking news, breaking great news. Any questions?
I had a question. The bill makes this an option, but you're talking like this is a done deal that anybody convicted of sex trafficking would be locked up for life. What about the judicial discretion on the sentence?
So I'm going to have the sponsor of the bill talk about
Yeah,
that.
this bill is for if you're convicted of a Class 2 felony to have that option of life in prison. This bill was very carefully crafted. We did involve Democrat input. Even up to the last minute, we addressed every one of their concerns. I thought it was partisan going in. You saw the floor vote yesterday. It was shocking to me that this is not a bipartisan bill. So we've addressed every concern that has ever been addressed to us. And you'll hear a lot of the same terms and messages. We're solid on this. We've put a lot of work into this, both the House and Senate. So that's how the bill reads. Did you want to add to that?
Why are you so certain that judges will impose life sentence? I mean, it's an option.
I don't know if the executive branch should be speaking on the judicial and what they do and why they decide certain things. I think that's out of my purview to comment on that. I don't know, does anyone else want to say something nice about the judicial branch?
Let's just hope that there's justice served at the end of the day. I was asked this very question on the floor during the vote, and in my opinion, I believe justice will be served. I think having an independent judiciary away from the legislative branch and the executive powers are a good thing. We obviously make the laws, they uphold them or they strike them down, as Senator Peterson just mentioned, that the U.S. Supreme Court just upheld Texas' version of SB 1231. There is a process, as you know.
Any other questions? All right, thank you for being here. We've got members here for individual interviews. Thank you.
Nice job.